Hello everyone, welcome. So number 3 now. Number 3.
4.
Oh, 4. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you're
the
off
wine
count.
is the wine gets to you.
Yes. But while it's episode number 4, this is Francie Pants number 2.
Ooh, Francie Pants number 2.
Nice French pronunciation there. I like that.
Alright, so Francie Pants number 2. The reason being that we have 2 sparkling wines from France. But there is a connection with these. So I don't know if you knew this, but March 23rd is actually a really important date for sparkling wine in general. Did you know that at all?
No, I'm trying to think of anything that would happen. March Madness, Ides of March. I'm lost.
So about 500 years ago, there was this other Aztec wheel that nobody knew about, and on there it ended with March 23rd. And it said that this date is the date that sparkling wine should be created for, to celebrate the most momentous, amazing occasion ever.
Yeah, I'm lost on that history. What?
My birthday!
Oh, that makes more sense. I got it.
Yeah. So, fun shameless plug. So my birthday is March 23rd. Sparkling wine was in fact invented for that.
It's not bad.
Yeah. Anyways, all jokes aside, the introduction, welcome. I'm Cecilia Barretto with Vinously Speaking Wine Shop and Blog, located in the Medical Center on the corner of Babcock and Morris Bach, and you can check us out at www.vinously.speaking.com. And I'm here with my partner in wine.
The tango to my cash, I guess. So Jeff Degner with the Grape Wine Company, San Antonio's oldest wine merchant, where we pre-select all the wines for our customers and work with the internet. Also, obviously you are at our website too, which is www.sanantoniowine.com.
Yeah.
Which is great. So, or on YouTube, either way. I'm happy either way. And when she did mention it was her birthday, I said, we should do like a champagne episode or a sparkling wine episode where we can, have fun with bubbles and kind of, slightly educate, as well as show that it's not just made for, birthdays, or you got the promotion at work, or you won the Tour de France. Steroid free, of course. It's a sparkling wine, so it is a wine. It can be drank, every day, and it's very versatile with a lot of food pairings too. So, so what we're going to celebrate for your birthday, we're also going to eat today too, because we really like to drink and eat.
Yeah, it's necessary. So we look forward to showing you some sparkling wine from France. Alright, so sparkling wine from France. So there's a few differences that you should know. I'm going to make it very easy for you. Of course, it can be a lot more complicated. So we have champagne and sparkling wine. So when people say champagne, a lot of times we say champagne for anything with bubbles in it. That's not correct. Although, you can say it if you want to, but just so that you know, Champagne is the region in France. So if you call something champagne, it should be the sparkling wine from the region in Champagne. Everything outside of that is going to be called something else. You can just say sparkling wine. In this case, we have the Crémant. So Crémant is, we'll show you a close-up later, but Crémant is the term for any wine in France that's made in the same method as Champagne, just not from the region of Champagne. So that being said, what is the Champagne method? If it doesn't say Crémant on it, like in France, you'll see the word traditional method. It's being phased out, but sometimes you'll see Champagne method. But it's now kind of the law that it should just say traditional method. So that being said, what does it mean? That means that when you make wine, you ferment it, okay, we have a basic wine. You put that wine back in the bottle, you add some yeast, a little bit of sugar, you let the fermentation process happen a second time, but you let it happen in the bottle and you close it. Anytime fermentation happens, carbon dioxide naturally happens anyways. So it gets stuck in the bottle and it has nowhere to go. So it's fermenting, fermenting, fermenting. Carbon dioxide happens until you open it, which in this case it's released. That's where you get all the bubbles. It's all the trapped carbon dioxide that happens, from wine. So that's the difference. So again, champagne from the region, something made like champagne but not from the region of Champagne. So it's called Crémant. If it wasn't from France and it's still made in the Champagne method, where that second fermentation happens in the bottle, it is called the traditional method. So now we're going to go into another important part. How do you properly open a bottle of wine, sparkling wine? We can do the saber, we can shake it up like NASCAR.
That's right, yeah.
But
we can do a Tour de France style where it just shoots out everywhere and you lose half of it. You know, what's really important is that you release the least amount of gas when you open it, because you want those bubbles to still be in there and not have this thing shoot out and you lose kind of half of it, and the wine loses a lot of its fizz and bubble style to it. So the goal is, obviously, if I do this right, that we do this with very little noise, although we may add sound effects later to kind of intensify the situation.
So we're going to put him to the test. So I was in France, and the sommelier at this restaurant told me that the way you know if you open a bottle of sparkling wine correctly is if it makes the sound of a very satisfied woman.
That's a lot of work. Let's see what I can do here. That's a lot of pressure on me. So first, again, I usually use a towelette of some sort just in case, because there is a lot of pressure in there. So when the cork does it wants to leave. It does not want to sit there anymore. The only thing that's actually holding it is the cage, as well as the slight expansion of the cork. So once you remove the cage, this thing is alive. It's a bullet. It can shoot out. So you just have to, so I always put the towelette over there to make sure that if it does want to shoot out, or even a little of the bubbly comes out, you can kind of hold it together and keep it clean.
Don't want to take anyone's eye out.
Do not want to shoot anybody's eye out. So we'll go our twist here. We twist that off. Keep your thumb on top. Loose the cage there a little bit. Then wrap your hand around it nice and tight. Just slowly twist. There we go.
See, that's
the sound of a satisfied woman?
Yeah, come on.
See, there we go. I've never known that was what the sound was. That's pretty impressive.
So the least amount of sound that you can get from the bottle, the better. That being said, it is going to make a wonderful little noise there.
A little pop.
Little whoop. So, the way to open a bottle.
And no one got hurt.
No one got hurt.
Which is also very important. So now we're going to go and pour this, and we're actually going to pour it next to the PJ2, so you can kind of see the difference in style. Because not only is it a different region in France, it's also a different grape makeup too. So we're going to see, and also, I mean, this has been aged for, I think, 6 years in the bottle, and so we're going to see like a different complexity between the two. So I'm very excited.
Yeah.
On Twitter, I was like, what? You stop and take shots? That's awesome. What? I'm actually impressed. Those are good. Those are good technical bottles.
Okay, so we're here with the Limoux. Again, the Cremant. C-R-E-M-A-N-T, Cremant. Or as Texans might say, Cremant.
Cremant.
Cremant. Or as the French might say, Cremant. I'm just kidding. Yes. Over-exaggerating. Alright, so Limoux, it's in the Languedoc region in France, so more going towards the Spanish border, just on that southeast part of France. So Limoux, there's sort of this like thing where they say that who discovered sparkling wine? Was it Dom Perignon? Or was it the Limousin? I can't remember the word for the people from Limoux, but the people from Limoux. So anyways, on the back of this bottle it says in 1531, a Benedictine monk of Limoux discovered the first sparkling wine in the world. And then there's the other side that says that Dom Perignon discovered it. He was a blind monk, and he was like, "Come, brothers, I've discovered the stars." So I don't know.
I am Team Dom. I'll be honest, I had a t-shirt made up, so you know, for the twihards out there, we obviously have two different opinions on this, although they're both monks. So really at the end of the day, we should just be happy. Yeah, they're just monks. Monks making wine. So.
Well, if you're Team Dom, then I'm automatically going to have to take Team Limoux.
Yeah.
Alright, so Limoux. In Limoux you might find, or not you might, but you'll find wine that's there. It's called Blanquette de Limoux. Blanquette de Limoux is another sparkling wine from the region. The reason that they have Blanquette de Limoux and Cremant de Limoux is that the Blanquette is the regional dialect for the grape called Mauzac. and that is what has to be 90% Mauzac to be called Blanquette de Limoux. This particular one, there was a lot of winemakers that wanted to use grapes like Chardonnay and Chenin Blanc in their wine to make it more of that sort of reminiscent of Champagne style. So they came up with the Crémant de Limoux title so that you can have Blanquette made from Mauzac and Crémant de Limoux made mostly with Chardonnay and Chenin Blanc. This one is 70% Chardonnay, 20% Chenin, 5% Pinot Noir, and 5% Mauzac. So let's go.
Yeah, that's really nice. Cheers. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Happy birthday glasses. How fun.
It's very festive.
I'm getting a lot of sort of like that baked apple aroma. Yeah. Which is very typical of the wine of the region. You get a lot of baked apple aromas. As you noticed in the video with the bubbles, and you can see side by side the champagne in this one.
Right.
The other one didn't have as many bubbles originally, but you can tell this one is just slightly like fading out a little.
Right.
Whereas champagne usually keeps itself going quite a lot, and it's just that there's more pressure in champagne bottles than there is in Crémant, so that's a small difference.
Right, yeah, more atmospheric pressure. But this is still very good flavors on that too. It's nice, and they're not very expensive either.
No, this retails for $17 in my wine shop. Most Crémants are going to fall between that, $12 to $20, maybe even up to $30 price range. So if you're looking for something that's made like champagne but isn't as expensive, Crémant is the way to go. And
I've always liked Chenin Blanc, so the fact that Chenin Blanc's present in this is nice because it adds a nice kind of flavor profile to it, a little more floral for me. But I like that. And so the other thing too is, like I said, it's a sparkling wine, so it is a wine. And, this can, just open on a Tuesday night, have with dinner. Mm-hmm. And you actually brought something really kind of fun to pair with this to show that, you don't have to have caviar. You don't have to have, these big expensive things. You can actually just have a nice little night of cheeses and, actually...
I'll show you.
Yep.
Little poker chips.
Yeah.
All right, so we have hummus. So it's not particularly that hummus goes well with champagne. It's the fact that it's an odd textured food. So odd textured foods and champagne go really well. The bubbles help cleanse your palate. So anything like oysters, sushi, hummus, spinach artichoke dip, all those things that are really like a weird texture, the bubbles on any kind of sparkling wine really help cleanse your palate.
Yep.
So here we have pita pal, sesame, and pine nuts hummus from H-E-B.
Get to know, like, this is easy date night. Grab a bottle of that, a little of this, some pita chips. Doing the salsa dance, that's nice.
Doing the chewing dance. So the good thing about this pairing, this particular pairing, so this is pine nuts and hummus is a really low-key flavor, and then this Crémant is a really subtle one, so it complements itself very well. Like one doesn't overpower the other, and you get good flavors off of it. So. And
this is like a multigrain chip, I assume.
Yep, it's a rice cracker.
Yeah, so this is nice. Actually, I was gonna say just the subtle hints of this are actually kind of popping out a little bit too, so it's nice.
Okay, cool. Yep, so grab yourself some hummus and some sparkling wine. Any odd textured food if you want to do odd textured food night.
Yeah, that would be a good, a fun night to have. But like you had said, sushi, I mean, a lot of these things are just ideal for this, so this is nice.
Cheers.
Très bon. All right. So for the second champagne, I actually wanted to bring this, or the second sparkling wine, which is a champagne. I brought this for you because it was your birthday, and we kind of want to...
He's getting fancy.
That's right, the 23rd. So, in the memory bank. So what we want to do is, I want to bring something kind of nice, which is a tête de cuvée. So, in the world of champagne, a tête de cuvée is a kind of their upper tier, their kind of big high-profile wine. One of the famous ones, obviously, is Cristal, which comes from the winery. Which one? Quiz. Rare. And the other one, the other big one that everyone knows is Dom Perignon Team Dom over here, comes from the Moet Chandon. So what I brought today, though, was Perrier-Jouet's, actually, Tête de Cuvée. Now, before this 2004 vintage, and we'll talk about vintage champagne here, it was always known as like in the U.S., it's always known as like the flower bottle, because no one could say Belle Epoque. Yeah. So they do this very lovely bottle, and they had the flowers on there, and so from like 1970, when it was first brought into the market, up until 2002, it was always like the flower bottle.
Okay.
So 2004 vintage was actually the first vintage that actually called it Belle Epoque. Now in Europe and the rest of the world, it was always known as that. So it was kind of a nice marketing thing to kind of just tie it all together and make it all kind of universal. Now 2004 was a great vintage. So anytime they do a vintage champagne, it obviously is a collective thought that everyone thinks that that's a fantastic year. They call it a vintage year.
Okay.
And then they actually then make their Tête de Cuvée for that. So off vintages, you won't see the Belle Epoque or the Dom Perignon or the Cristal.
On a side note there, just in case for anyone that doesn't know, Belle Epoque sort of translates to what we say here in the U.S. as the Golden Ages. Correct. Or the Golden Age. Sorry,
Golden Age, yeah.
Ages, the Ice Ages.
Yes, any age is fine at this point.
The Golden Age. So we have, Frank Sinatra sitting here and
that's right.
Doing all the fun stuff with us. By the way, I'm obsessed with Frank Sinatra.
On a side note, it has a for your birthday.
I'm not even kidding you.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with him.
So any kind of a Frank Sinatra CD or anything would be great for you.
Forget
Ocean's 11, the original, you'd be happy with.
Forget the hologram of Tupac. I want the hologram tour of Frank Sinatra.
Okay, great. Please make that happen, Spielberg. Please, just make her happy.
Yeah.
That's all we want. But again, this is their Tête de Cuvée is actually, for us, it's $130 at Grape Wine Company, and you get both glasses too. So fantastic bottle of champagne and 2 glasses. While Dom and Armand and Cristal are all a lot higher price at that point.
Yeah.
This thing's fantastic. It is actually more Chardonnay based on this one. Their normal label, which runs for about $40, their Grand Brut. It's a little more Pinot Noir, but this one is 50% Chardonnay, 45% Pinot Noir, and 5% Pinot Meunier. So those are the 3 grapes that are really well known for making champagne, not only the Champagne region, but also when they do sparkling wine in California, and a lot of other places in the world, they focus on those 3 grapes.
And what are the 3 grapes again? Chardonnay,
Pinot Noir, and then a little lesser known grape called Pinot Meunier. Which again, there's actually a few places in California that I'm thinking of, like Domaine Carnos off the top of my head, that actually make 100% Pinot Meunier, and it's a lovely it's a great little red wine. So again, while this is a white wine, the only white grape in this is Chardonnay.
Okay.
Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier are both red grapes. So so it's always kind of one of those nice little things. So and again, with the amount of Chardonnay that's in this, and including the soil type, this is a very kind of acidic, very kind of more of a clean style wine. So I brought something kind of fun and exciting to actually pair with this today. So
cool. Just to put that closer to the camera, look at how lovely these glasses are. They're
yes. Now these are actually hand painted. So if you do take advantage of this fantastic deal with this bottle and 2 glasses, I highly recommend hand washing these. These are one of those styles you don't put in the dishwasher because it's going to start chipping off those beautiful flowers on there. So always remember hand wash these glasses. Delicate.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I appreciate
absolutely. So let's have a little cheers, and then I'll bring over my little.
The nose on this. So the Cremant is as nice as that is, and at the price point, okay, $17, it's nice. But this one, it smells like it's 5 o'clock in the morning. You're in France. You're leaving your apartment. You smell the bakery making their fresh bread. Add a little bit of lemon, baked lemon citrus type thing. Yeah. That yeasty aromas.
Now for this to be a vintage champagne, it actually has to stay in the bottle for 5 years, at least minimum. Yeah. And that's why you're getting more of that bread smell, because of the fact that the yeast cells they put in for the second fermentation is sitting in this bottle. Even after it's done fermenting, it just sits on the lees or dead yeast cells for 5 years. So you're getting a lot of that kind of bread, taste to it, and that's what makes it fantastic. Yeah, so definitely more of a. So if you get apple, it's more of like an apple pie or more baked apple style in this.
Yeah, and you can still tell the presence of the bubbles. Even though we're filming this, so this has been open a little while, you can still tell the presence of the bubbles as opposed to the Limoux. You know, you have to pretty much pour it and drink it, you know, fairly soon.
Right, to keep the bubble integrity. It's more of a sprinter. This is a little more of a marathon style where the bubbles are always there.
And so,
and the other thing I was, real quick, is the tightness and the smallness of the bubble. Now that's obviously a sign of quality, as well as the fact that it's been sitting there for so long. So the longer that the wine, you know, sits there after the second fermentation, the smaller and smaller the bubbles will get. So these are nice, tight little bubbles that are just, or very vibrant, especially in the beginning, are very, I think, kind of present in the fact that it's more of a quality style.
Very good.
And look what I brought. Popcorn. If I was Barney right now, this would be a good song. I have a funny Barney popcorn song. But so what I picked today was more of like a salty style. So one thing Champagne really likes is salt and fat. Now we talked about the texture on the other one as far as like a tongue presence. But this one actually, it also likes salt and fat, which is why sushi kind of works, because it's kind of a fatty thing. Popcorn works because it's that. My uncle Enno, who's both salty and fatty. Also, champagne would go very well with him, so remember that. But so I picked a very salty popcorn because peanuts would also go very well. So anything that's very salty in its kind of integrity. So let's try it.
Let's go.
Let's try a little popcorn. Let's do two. Make sure it's in there.
Oh yeah, champagne and salt, good.
Yeah.
So if you got potato chips, if you got fried chicken.
Fried chicken especially, that's like the big thing right now. Is a lot of the, a lot of restaurants are pairing fried chicken and champagne together.
Yeah,
Max's
very
Wine
good.
Dive.
So have an odd textured, salty food night with bubbly.
Yeah.
Set the mood.
Right, and here's the thing. I mean, whether it's, you know, $17 or $130 champagne. You don't have to have caviar. You don't have to have like this big, you know, extravaganza kind of night. You can actually just throw in a bag in the microwave and have a fun night.
You know what you should do? You should get the potato lays, the new flavors, like chicken and waffles.
Chicken and waffles would be a good one, yeah.
Sriracha.
Sriracha, yeah, those three.
What's the other one? Oh, the cheesy bread.
Yeah, cheesy bread. So,
we should do that.
so all those would go great with this. So again, you don't have to make this big old night of, you know, getting fresh tuna or anything else. I mean, you can literally just grab some sushi at the store. You can pop some popcorn. You can have simple cheeses like goat cheese, you know, kind of a nice kind of creamy style cheese like that, and have a great night. So
cool. So just on a closing note, we've mentioned a couple styles of sparkling wine with the second fermentation in the bottle. There's two other types. If you have things like Prosecco from Italy, those are usually done, instead of the second fermentation happening in the bottle, they happen in a large, huge vat, and then they get put in the bottle. So that's why Proseccos are more of an affordable option.
Right.
And then the next level after that is where they have the still wine, and then they pump CO2. So your things like your Andres and your Cooks.
Right. And you're going to see even in that with the bigger, sloppier bubbles, and, you know, compared to, you know, nice bubbles on that one and slightly tighter bubbles on this one, which is showing that it was actually in the bottle and not necessarily in a tank style. And
so in closing, I would just like to give you a word of advice. The smaller the bubbles, the smaller the headache. That's a good point. So, yeah, that's a good idea. Well, thank you very much for the birthday present. Happy birthday. Thank you. And thank you for sharing my birthday with me. Find yourself a bottle of bubbly, and cheers to the greatest things in your life to the most small things in your life. So drink it because it's a day that ends in Y. Yeah, exactly. Cheers. Cheers.